today's hybrid world, the IT professional is tasked with managing networks and devices that are dispersed across geography and, more recently, supporting increased numbers of home-based workers. Using the large canvas and immersive tools native to Microsoft Surface Hub 2S, such as Microsoft Whiteboard and Microsoft Teams, real-time collaboration is achieved to solve problems quickly. Installing Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise enables individuals to use any application on their Surface Hub 2S, and the addition of a fingerprint reader optimizes security and personal use. As a group device, Surface Hub 2S runs a custom operating system, Windows 10 Team Edition, which enhances security, creating a walk-up-and-use meeting device for any user. Combined with the end session feature, which automatically clears the information from a previous meeting, the IT professional can ensure the security of the device and the data. The Surface Hub 2S allows IT professionals to stay connected to their teams and internal customers. The use of Teams 2020 edition further enhances the ability to manage all Surface Hub 2S devices via Microsoft Intune. Real world, real interaction. Surface Hub 2S bridges the digital and physical divide in today's hybrid workplaces, further enhanced by the global availability of Microsoft Surface Hub 2S 85-inch in 2021.
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Namitha Matthews and I'm the APAC Surface Channel Marketing Manager. So welcome to the fourth and the last webinar in our Hub in a Hybrid World webinar series that we've been jointly delivering with our wonderful partners here at Collaptech. If you are new to the series, this is actually a brand new partner enablement program that Microsoft is landing jointly with Collaptech, as who a lot of you guys already know is one of our expert training providers covering modern solutions with Surface and in 365. Look, we want to continue to support our partners with the right information and the right content to really enable you to engage with your customers. So this is another step in that direction, but purely focused on Surface Hub and highlighting the many different prioritized industries where we see a lot of opportunity for our collaboration solutions, including Microsoft Teams as well, to really add value to our customers. So in the last three webinars that we covered, we dived into education, manufacturing, and last week we touched on finance industry. So today we're going to take a look at public sector, especially as COVID-19 really forced our government and our public sector organizations to really embrace virtual work. Leaders must truly reimagine how they engage and collaborate with their colleagues, whilst at the same time ensuring continuity of public services, as a lot of us, as part of our own lockdowns and restrictions, have come to see. So today, we want to really explore how Surface Hub 2S in particular can contribute to this change, delivering a very unique and secure solution capability. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Andrew from Collaptech, who's going to kick us off with today's great lineup of content. So over to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Namitha, and thank you for that warm introduction. It's great to be back presenting to the partners again, as you mentioned, for the final of the four-part series. We've really enjoyed doing these events, and today we've got partners all around the APAC region. So welcome everyone. My name's Andrew Fletcher. I'm the SVP International for Collaptech. And today we have a range of presenters and content to cover for the topic Hub in a Hybrid World for the public sector. Today's webinar, we're going to cover a range of insights into the sector, the need for improved collaboration, and examples of how to engage and collaborate effectively. So to get us started, what is the public sector? So public sector encompasses entities, enterprises and businesses where the government is the owner of the organisation by way of a majority shareholding. And these organisations are controlled, managed and operated and financed by government. As we know, governments and public sector organisations have to respond quickly to help equip their citizens and businesses with the appropriate resources required. It often will will include one or more of federal, state or local government entities. To make it relatable, we thought we'd look at the pandemic and some of the key areas this has impacted specifically the public sector using a recent report from consultancy firm PwC. First off, crisis management. In responding to the crisis, governments will aim to minimise any associated negative impacts and ensure continual delivery of critical national infrastructure. For example, it may include power, data or health. Healthcare. In regards to a pandemic, the government's primary concern obviously is the health of the citizens, and healthcare systems can also heavily rely on public services for social support. Governments have faced the challenge of responding to the immediate threat of the virus, whilst also trying to create a viable solution for future outbreaks and also the present need for vaccine deployments. Economic and fiscal measures include financial impact also on consumers and businesses, which can lead to drastic economic challenges. Governments have been under a lot of pressure to reduce the recessionary effects of citizens spending less, small businesses failing, and the impact of these along the supply chain. Regarding digital solutions, with many people staying at home to prevent the spread of COVID, it's highlighted the need to support citizens across the digital services set. In particular, around sharing information on outbreaks and trying to contain virus spread to keep people informed and safe, but has also forced governments to reevaluate how they may produce more efficient access to service models moving forward. And the focus on information. In times of crisis, governments are on the lookout for comprehensive information on how other countries and around the world are responding, and often looking for best practices to control outbreaks by sharing information quickly. And finally, international aid. Governments often work together with international public financial institutions and donors in terms of crisis to minimise any potential issues. So a question I have for you, have you noticed in the public sector a growing drive for more collaborative approaches to working? In a recent Accenture report, it highlighted the growing need for wide consultation before making decisions and creating government policies. Engagement and discussion with a wide variety of both internal and external stakeholders, often from different agencies, are required to meet these requirements. Governance and accountability requirements. As you can see, there's 79% stat is quite high, as you'd imagine, for a government to work with each other. Also, it's not just with each other. In particular, there's a lot of large committees and working groups that need to be involved in making a range of decisions before implementing projects. And you also get a lot of consortiums such as communities, volunteers and small private sector working together, often in different geographic locations, to deliver these services and projects. So this creates a real challenge for all parties as they need to work together around the complex web of governance and accountability. So what is it that can help when working with government? So we've provided here from the Accenture report the top tips when working with government. And first and foremost, for governments, they're not just interested in tech for tech's sake. The key to successful engagement with governments is to offer solutions that offer real answers to public sector challenges. Technology should be the enabler and it's not the end to itself. 2, the sector is filled with people who want to solve public problems and make governments more effective. And it's crucial we identify and engage with these change agents who share this vision. Having senior internal champions on board is an extremely successful strategy when trying to break into these markets. Thirdly, governments simply can't afford to take half measures when it comes to the security and privacy of products, software products. Robust cybersecurity and data privacy infrastructure is at the core of any successful government technology. And lastly, products don't need to be overly complicated or all-encompassing. It's more important they solve one specific, clearly defined policy challenge. COVID-19 has disrupted our governments and led to new expectations and challenges for the public sector. Meeting these expectations will require new skills and ideas and greater creativity and flexibility. Across the public sector, remote working seems certain to have a more important role to play in the future. Choosing where people work and in what numbers remains to be seen, but the expectation has definitely changed. As we move to the new normal, we will see permanent change. Hybrid environments will have a workforce accessing information from mixed locations. There'll be a focus on fluid, real-time engagement centered around trusted, secure platforms. And employees will need to ensure staff are sufficiently digitally connected to their jobs to allow strong engagement with stakeholders in a consistent way, regardless of where they're based. Microsoft technology enables this journey with Teams as a platform combined with the Surface range. It's brought together the best technology features of collaboration with security. Microsoft Surface Hub has been built for outstanding performance as an integrated collaboration device, and Microsoft has created a versatile tool which simplifies and facilitates great team collaboration and creative meetings. To better understand how collaboration can be used to reimagine a range of these public sector processes, Daniel Aycock, one of our senior collaboration specialists, will help us take a closer look now at how the Surface Hub manages effective collaboration and use cases in a hybrid environment. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and good morning, everybody, and thank you for making time to jump onto this session. What I wanted to do today was show everybody here some real-life demos of examples that we've seen Surface Hubs being used in the public sector, and I want to show you some aspects of the Surface Hub and sort of dig into that whole Windows 10 team operating system and how it really sort of shines in that particular sector. So first of all, let's talk about security, privacy, and information control. So you heard a little bit in that sizzle reel there saying that the Surface Hubs run a particular operating system's Windows 10 team. This is specifically designed to really maximize security, privacy, and information control. At a base level, with the sort of standard configuration that comes out, you can see on the screen, and I'll change my view here so that you can get a better look at what's happening. As an end user, I have access to these tiles, which show me the apps that are installed on this device, right? Let's hit the Windows key, let's dig a little deeper, I'll pull up the menu. As you can notice on the screen here, there's no search bar. There is no way for me to run a command prompt. There is no way for me to enter the settings if I'm just an end user. If I try, it's going to prompt me for an admin login. So really, it's got that sort of kiosk setup, which means that you can configure these devices so that users can use them in the exact way that you want them to, and nothing more. They're not going to be able to jump into the Surface Hub, access files that they shouldn't, change the way the Surface Hub functions, hack in via various different vectors, because it's a really locked down, safe machine. This is just the default configuration. What we can do if we dig a little deeper into the settings, I'll show you guys some changes that you can make to really lock these devices down even further. And we've seen several different clients do this, people like Department of Defense, etc. Really big, important government bodies that have a massive emphasis on security. So let's have a look. I am going to jump into the settings. Luckily for me, I'm an admin. Woohoo! So let me just log in with my super secret password. Alrighty, great. Let's have a look at the various options that we've got. The first one is that I can actually get rid of the ability for users to log into these machines at all. So if I just want the Surface Hubs to be used as video conferencing machines, that has pretty much no vector of attack, no way people can brute force a password, etc. I can actually turn this whole ability off. So to do that, we go into our settings. I'm going to go into Surface Hub and Session and Power. If I just toggle that little switch there, that'll stop people from being able to log in at all. In addition, there's other things that we can lock down. Let's say we can't sign into this Surface Hub at all. There is one other thing that we can do as a means of saving work, and that's sending emails from the whiteboard. So if we open up the whiteboard, Don't peek at what's to come. If I hit the settings, I've got that ability to export this whiteboard as an image, and I can do that without signing in. I can actually turn this off at an account level as well, using Exchange. So the actual Surface Hub mailbox account can be stopped from sending emails. So we can stop any information from leaving this device at all. Another thing that we can do, if we go into Update and Security, is I can stop people from saving information onto USB drives that are not encrypted by BitLocker. So I've got this on, I can turn that off. So that's another layer of protection that we can add to really control that information and stop where it's flowing around. The last thing I want to show you, and this is something that we've seen clients do, is in my proxy details, I can, if I've got a proxy set up in place, which a lot of government bodies do, especially the ones with guns, you know, the guys who are really focused on security, they want to know exactly who's browsing the internet, exactly who's looking at what and where and what time. So you can set it up so that this is actually going to ask for the user's credentials when they open up the browser and go to use the internet. So you can see how we can start with that initial base layer of security, which is really secure as it is. You know, we've got no way to change the way the device works, no way to install programs that shouldn't be on there, no way to get into the settings, etc. And then we've got that ability to end the session, which permanently deletes everything on the Surface Hub. It wipes all the files, it wipes your history, it wipes the logins, etc. We can then harden it even more. We can strengthen the device even more and really lock down and control exactly where information is going. We can see who is using it and exactly what they're doing. So yeah, really great device for public sectors because it's got that ability to be customized, and it's already really secure as it is straight out of the box. Now that we've done the fun stuff, let's talk about management. Surface Hubs can be managed via MDM solutions, such as Intune. This is really important if you've got a very large building, let's say a hospital or a government house, or any sort of large institution where, because the Surface Hubs are mobile devices, which is a great way to sort of pull as much value out of the machines as possible, it means that you might not always know where they are if you're an IT administrator. So with that, to solve that issue, we can enroll these into Intune, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So what this means is, as an administrator, I can configure the Surface Hub once. When I pull it out of the box, all I need to do is turn it on. I can give the Surface Hub an account and then enroll it into Intune. The Intune configuration profile is going to do everything else for me. It's going to get it connected to the internet. It's going to push all those security policies that we can do through the settings. It's going to push apps and remove apps. It's going to basically set it up exactly how I want this device. And then going forward, I never need to touch that device again as an administrator. I can do every single change from a distance via a configuration policy in Intune. So let me change my screen now so you can see what I'm doing. To enroll a Surface Hub into Intune, it's really simple. Like, you can either do this straight out of the box. If you Azure AD join these devices, they'll automatically enroll themselves into Intune. However, if we're not doing that, if we're just keeping it as a cloud device, I'm going to go into the settings to get back, Surface Hub, device management. I'm going to hit this plus button here, and now I'm going to put in a demo account. Excuse me, 365. And this demo account is linked to a demo configuration policy that we've created. Soft.com. Okay, so all I'm doing here is putting in an account email address. In the real life, I'd use the actual account this Surface Hub has been provisioned with. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to do it right now. Otherwise, we would have that really fun thing where the hub would restart in the middle of a demo, and yeah, it would sort of throw things out of whack. Now I'd put in the password, super secret, and I'll be changing this password after the session, so don't worry about that. I hit yes, that's it. Now it's enrolled in Intune, it's done. So I think if you timed me, that would take less than a minute. Now, this device is completely controlled from a remote location. Everything, the updates, the installation, the security policies, I can restart the device, I can reset the device, I can completely wipe the device too. If for some reason someone manages it to smuggle it out, you can remote wipe these devices as well. So you've got complete control over these devices, and they're incredibly secure, and it's incredibly easy to do. Moving on, let's see some demos. I think we're all aware the past 12 months, government agencies have been pretty busy, especially medical agencies. Surface hubs have really come to the fore because of their mobility. And the mobility, the screen size, the screen quality, 50 inches, 4K detail that you can roll around, you combine that with the fidelity of Teams, we've seen a lot of medical practitioners use Surface hubs for virtual rounding. So this is where we have our hub on our roam stand with our battery, our APAC battery. They can roll the Surface hub around to different patients. The doctor can Teams call in to the device, full screen, and then the patient can interact with the doctor. The doctor doesn't need to actually physically be there on site. So they can service patients in a whole bunch of different locations, different hospitals, different clinics. They can be everywhere at once, essentially. And the size of the screen means that people actually feel like they're interacting with the person. You're getting all those subtle cues, body language, etc. The audio is basically filtered, and the microphones are fantastic in these devices so that the sound is crisp and clear and warm. More importantly, Microsoft have done a bunch of work making communication, those subtle parts of communication like the sound of people's voices and picking up details, slight details like body language and twitches and things like that, because it makes up a huge amount of communication. So as a patient, to have a doctor that's life-size, so I can hear clearly, looks and sounds like he's in the room, it's a much better experience. And it allows that doctor to help so many more people. Not only can we sit here on a video call with my doctor, if I'm the patient, my doctor is overseas and he's talking to me, the doctor can then present, let's say, x-rays. The screen is large enough and the fidelity is good enough. Let me just change my screen so you guys can be the virtual patient. This is what the patient's going to see. All right, it's huge. And then the doctor from a remote location can say, hey, look, these pins in your neck are looking really good. So it's this one. You've got all your fillings put in and they're looking good too. And we can zoom in and get as much detail as we need. Right? And we can move that down. There's a few different examples here. Your teeth are looking fantastic. The quality and the detail that you can get on the Surface hubs is great. So being able to present this to a patient in real time while you're talking about it, while you are marking it up, is just a fantastic thing. And we've seen it really take off. It adds that extra layer of security too. Now when you've got doctors who may be moving from one high-risk patient to another with infectious diseases, you can remove that part of the chain where doctors are put at risk by actually having to be there in person to talk and to present things. So it's really fantastic. Now, presenting data on the Surface hub, especially bulk numbers, let's say COVID infections and things like that, has really come to the fore. And in Australia, we saw Dr. Nick Coatsworth, who actually works for the Prime Minister's Department of Health, the Prime Minister's office, presenting COVID data on a Surface hub. So I've got a little clip of that. I'll show you guys just a small bit of that now so you can see just how good that looks. So let's full screen that and let's take him off mute. Okay, alrighty, go.
As at 3 p.m. today, we had 7,767 cases of coronavirus, an increase of 85 newly confirmed cases in the last 24 hours. Well, sadly, 104 people have died from this disease in Australia.
Okay, let's pause there before it gets too grim. This is from a while ago, where the things were quite scary in Australia, and luckily we've managed to pull it in. But this is a really fantastic story that you can use with a Surface hub for medical professionals using this fantastic big screen, nice and clear, as a way to present lots of data. So that's a good one. Now, while we're here, I wanted to talk about how we can use a large touchscreen device in an environment where things need to be cleaned regularly and people are worried about touching devices and then touching their faces and getting sick. So Microsoft have published some really good guidelines on how to clean down the Surface Hub. So here's the main page here that we want to look at. And the thing, I guess, for Surface Hubs, the most important thing is that you have a low alcohol content, something under 70%, and you don't want anything with abrasives in it. These are touchscreens. They've got this matte finish touchscreen that's designed. It's basically a special screen. It's designed to be a touchscreen, so they're quite sensitive. We, for a lot of our clients, use something like this. This is a regular surface cleaner. It kills 99.9% of germs. You can use these. You wipe down the screen. Don't ever spray the screen directly. If you've got a spray bottle, spray a cloth, then wipe the Surface Hub, and then use a chamois to make sure you get everything off so you don't have any residue there. We've got motion sensors and really nice microphones in the sides of the Surface Hub. They've got MEMS, micro electronical mechanical systems, which means the components of the mics are less than 1 millimeter in size. So they're really, really precise little machines. And you don't want to sort of soak the screen in liquid, but that's how easy they are to clean, and you're going to get that question a lot. That's a question that we hear a lot too. So being able to provide that information and know how to sort of give that answer quickly means that you can pop Surface Hubs in that environment, say in a hospital environment where there's infectious diseases and things like that, knowing that it's not going to be a vector of transmission. We can use these safely. So that's health. Let's have a look at a few other demos. One other thing that we've seen, and it's a bit grim, and I don't mean it to be, is we've seen emergency services utilizing the maps on the Surface Hub and the ability to mark these up together. Now, what have we got? Oh, that's next. Okay, so let's start a new whiteboard. I'm going to share this with Kalo. So Kalo is going to be my other emergency fire chief. So with maps on the Surface Hub, we've got this fantastic high resolution, high fidelity image that we can mark up to present, and I can also take screenshots of it, throw it in the whiteboard if I want other people to be able to present this too. So initially, say I'm the fire chief, I can be on a Teams call with all the other marshals who are regional, and I need to communicate things quickly and clearly. So what I can do, I can be on a call, I can share my screen. Let's change the screen so you guys get an idea of what it would look like. Let's move that. If I was sharing my screen as an attendee, this is what you'd see. And then we can really mark things up in detail. So we had fires. You can see there's my place there, the little dot. We were unlucky enough to have fires going along all of these mountain ridges here. We had a big long front going along. And so I can present, I can say, guys, we've got fires here. We've got a major road that goes down here. So I want teams 3 and 4. I want you to be blocking this road at Beachmont. I want a roadblock in place there. And teams 6 and 7, I want you to put a roadblock just outside Numinbah. I don't want anyone going through this road. Now, we've also got other spot fires that we've seen reported to the north of Upper Crystal Creek. We've got some reported to the west of Tommywind, so we've most likely got another front developing there. Now, at 3 p.m. today, we've got that sea breeze that's predicted to come in. So I'm putting all of the teams on alert in Beachmont, Binnaburra, and Lymptonwood. I can present and communicate these ideas really quickly, really clearly. If I want to work with other people, if I want to collaborate with other people, let's say Kalo, who's my other fire marshal, I can just drop it into the whiteboard. I can take a really high-res image of this map, and I can take screenshots of different parts of the country and keep adding them into the whiteboard until we've got the whole thing in as much detail as we like. Is Kalo here? Let's invite him again. So if I'm on a call with Kalo, he's my other fire marshal, just inviting him now, I can say, Kalo, where are your team members? Where are you guys located? I've got some guys in Murwillumbah here who want to meet you. If you could link up with them and then get up to Dungay because there's some fires there. Kalo can then mark this map up, let me know where his people are. Okay, so they're down in the pocket, so they're going to come around to the northeast. So this is an actual example of clients, government clients using the surface hubs that we've seen. Another very similar use case for this has been Department of Defense with things like war games, because you can mark up the maps and have, you know, you can have as many people as you like on this whiteboard marking things up in real time, putting information there. So it almost becomes this digital interactive screen, this sort of living thing that you can watch just take effect and take form as everybody interacts with it. Okay, another thing that's sort of slightly mapping related is that we've seen is infrastructure. Seen a lot of local governments use things like the maps. Let's scroll down a bit. To plan works, infrastructure works. So we can pull up something like this if I want to communicate that. So, all right, this is our bridge. We've got this fantastic 3D model that I can spin around, and we can go into great detail and zoom in at exactly what bits we want. And so I can present this at a council meeting. Oh, let's get it the right way up, or not. Let's make it a bit, come on. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right, and then we can say, all right, I'm going to put this bridge in, going between Harwood Island and James Creek here. We need to know the best times of day to do that. So let's turn on live traffic updates and let's see what's happening. Here I can change the times of day to see when the traffic is going to occur. And that's going to give me the most information to know when we can start doing works. So there's that sort of double whammy there where I can really get into detail about exactly what we're going to build and how it's going to be constructed, etc. And then we can move immediately into when we want to do it, where we want to do it. We can start planning that all the time, naturally, while we're on a Teams call with our remote location participants showing the screen. Another thing I want to show you is marketing. And well, not so much marketing, excuse me. Let's call it document control. And this is one that we see a lot in a time where we need to get information out and we need to get it out quickly. And I want to make sure that it's accurate. You can do something like this. Let's go back to my other PowerPoint. I can jump on a call with everyone and say, all right, guys, this is the information. This is our deck, our PowerPoint deck that we are preparing. We can get that information out to everybody. We can have several people. Say, let's invite Kalo to this one too. Just making Kalo jump through hoops and jump on different whiteboards. We can actually mark up these slides. All right. What's this question mark here? I don't like it. It provides uncertainty. I want you to put a pangolin in there, just so people know what we're talking about. And I want you to get rid of this word believed. We can talk about the changes. Kalo and I can make different changes and mark up the document while I'm making changes to the actual document in real time. So the fact that I can have this sort of dual screen thing happening on the Surface Hub because I've got enough screen real estate and it's really designed to use two apps while we're on a Teams call at the same time means that any edits I want to make are almost immediate. You know, we don't have to have a meeting about changes that we want to make to a document and then go back and make the changes to the document and have another meeting about it and show it again. We can do it in real time right now, which has been super important with getting information out that is 100% clear and 100% accurate. So there are some of the demos that I've seen our government clients in the APAC region use with the Surface Hub. Some great examples there. I hope you guys can use them when you're having conversations about the Surface Hub and how to place it in that particular silo and environment. Now that we've done that, I'm going to throw it over to Kalo, and he's going to talk about the 85-inch Surface Hub. Or is it a sizzle reel? One of the two.
Public organisations keep us all moving, but social restrictions mean that technology is replacing face-to-face interactions to facilitate communication, which is why many healthcare practitioners and hospitals are deploying Microsoft Surface Hub 2S. The majority of healthcare professionals believe face-to-face interaction is the most important element for patient engagement, delivering better shared decision-making. The 4K resolution on the inbuilt camera and the display on the Surface Hub 2S ensures a better exchange of information, as both parties are able to interpret body language and facial expressions alongside natural audio exchange. Remote teams can collaborate on Surface Hub 2S using data from a source device and back to the document, using the touchback and inkback facility, ensuring everyone is working from the most up-to-date files. Once the session has ended, meeting notes and content can be shared instantly, whilst all data is wiped from the Surface Hub 2S and ready for the next meeting. Ensuring data security is a top priority. Surface Hub 2S provides a walk-up and use experience, running Windows 10 Team operating system whilst being protected against continually evolving security threats. All these challenges are equally relevant, whether a doctor's office, courthouse or government organisation, and has turned remote collaboration from a nice-to-have add-on into a core component of service delivery in a way that couldn't have been envisaged even at the start of 2020. Real world, real interaction. Surface Hub 2S bridges the digital and physical divide in today's hybrid workplaces, further enhanced by the global availability of Microsoft Surface Hub 2S 85-inch in 2021.
Hi guys, Kalo from CollabTech here, just to talk a little bit about the Surface Hub's latest member of the family, which is the 85-inch. Before I jump into giving us a little bit of a breakdown of how the 85-inch works and the product itself, what I wanted to do was quickly address a couple of questions that came in about 10 minutes ago. This was related to some of the settings that Dan was changing initially on the Surface Hub. I'm not 100% sure which settings the questions are related to, because they came, like I said, it did come in a few minutes ago. But the question was, are these changed on the Windows 10 OS level or the Windows Teams level? So this is happening at the OS level. Inside the Surface Hub operating system, which funnily enough is called Windows 10 Teams. So the operating system does have Teams in the title as well. And yeah, these are some changes that Dan made around security and around settings. Dan, do you just want to run over those again quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to. And thank you for the question, whoever put that in there. So yeah, these changes that we are making are on the OS level, Windows 10 Team, I believe, no plural. And that's this specific OS. And just a quick note about it, it's great because a really good thing about it is that this OS is unique completely to Surface Hub. So if you have conditional access policies, things like that, you can filter it out and just hit that particular OS, which is just going to apply to your hubs. Those changes, I'll just show you my screen again so you get a good idea of what I'm doing. So the changes that I made to harden those security features again, the first one was in session and power, and that allows or disables the ability for users to sign into the devices at all. So if you've got a super locked down environment where you don't want people to sign in, you don't want that vector, you just want them used as VC, whiteboards, etc. Windows browsing devices, you can turn that on there. You can, from an exchange level, so this is at an account level through your Exchange admin, you can disable the ability for the Surface Hub account to send emails, and that will impact the ability for the Surface Hubs to send emails of the whiteboard, of a snapshot of the whiteboard. You can turn that off at an account level. The other one was stopping the Surface Hubs from saving data to non-encrypted USBs, non-BitLock or encrypted USB. So to do that, we just hit Update and Security, and then we can select removable drives, and we can toggle that on and off there. And then the last one was just the proxy settings. And this is one I've seen a lot when organizations want to know who's browsing and what they're looking at and when and what time. You can just change that to ask for a user's credentials when they hit that proxy setting instead of just authenticating with the Surface Hub account. So they're all the sort of the extra security sort of bells and whistles and settings that you can use to really harden these devices and have different layers, I guess, of how locked down these devices are. I hope that answered your question. If you wanted me to elaborate on anything more, just throw it in the Q&A chat. We'd be more than happy to show you as much as we can. But
Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks a lot, Dan. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Surface Hub 85-inch, which, as I said, is the latest addition to the Surface Hub family. And let's have a quick look at it. So as of immediately, basically, the Surface Hub 85-inch is available. You should be able to see in the video I'm showing the impact of the 85-inch. And by impact, I mean visual impact. It's a much larger device. It has a much larger working space, so having these two applications side by side is far more workable. You can see that it's almost larger than life as Milan here works through some of these features. We're able to bring up diagrams on one side and work through them on the other. We can be on a Teams call as we go through this content as well. And we can talk to people as we show off these features. One of the other great examples of why Surface Hub on 85-inch has a bigger impact is that those of us that are in the room are getting the same type of visual impact of those of us that are on a call and looking at a more private, more engaged screen. So if we do have a situation where we're in a briefing, whether that be medical, like the one we're demonstrating here, or whether that be something like a public announcement, people in the room are having a huge impact. They're able to see others that are in the call very clearly in a large enough space that facial expressions and reactions are warm and normal. And what they're also able to do is they're able to hear and speak. As Dan mentioned a little earlier, we've got excellent speaker technology, excellent microphone technology, and we can hear that warmth and that normality in the voice, and we can react in a conversational way. Now, the Surface Hub 85-inch is a big device. You've seen that on the video. It's huge. We need to be aware of how we mount it when it's this big. We've got three options currently. We have a roam stand, similar to what the Surface Hub 55-inch has, which means we can move it around, although it's not going to fit in a lot of elevators. We can move it around and we can move it from room to room on that roam stand. We can also wall mount it, which is great when you've got such a big device and you do want to secure it. And so we can wall mount it. There's a third option though, as it is such a heavy piece of equipment, we can use the legs from the stand to help support it when it is mounted flush against the wall. So if there's a concern that the gyprock/drywall won't be able to hold the Surface Hub, you can use the legs, mount it flush against the wall and get that extra weight support, which would be quite helpful. So that's the Surface Hub 85-inch in a nutshell. What I'd like to do now is open up the forum here for Q&A. We've had a couple of great questions. We'd love to hear some more, so please do shoot those through. The reason for this is Dan and I would love to hear from you guys, hear what specifics you want to dig into. We've had some great sessions leading up to this, and we've covered a lot of material. What we'd really want to do is see what areas in that material you guys want to hear more on. Just to hit a couple of key points while we wait for those questions to come in. The 85-inch is modular and updatable, like the 55-inch is, and there will be updates to the OS and updates to the hardware on the device. It has the same excellent 4K camera and 4K screen, and we talked about this several times today, but it's really important. It has amazing microphone technology. So when you set this up in a meeting room, you're able to just use the Surface Hub as your VC solution. It has triangulation of the microphones and far field effects, so it's able to pick up conversational voices anywhere within a reasonable size room. We've got one question come through now, just asking, is there any way to get the previous two sessions? I believe the recordings are available. Are we sending those recordings out, Michelle? Can you confirm?
Hi, Kayla. Yes, we'll be sending out the links for the recording. So after this session, we will send out all of the recording links from the previous session too.
Great, thank you. So yeah, all those sessions will be made available, and we cover off a few different verticals. We've obviously done public sector today. We've previously done finance, construction, and a range of, I guess, different verticals with different types of demonstrations. So if you guys are looking for a demonstration to use out in the marketplace, whether that's a live demonstration on the Service Hub or even just an example to talk about, Daniel covered off some great ones over the last few weeks. So just waiting for any more questions. Is there any other points you wanted to cover off, Dan, while we're waiting? Anything in particular?
Yeah, look, the one thing that sprung to mind when we are talking about using a very large device for video conferencing to get that really important fidelity, an example that sprung to mind is all those heads of state meetings that everybody's been seeing on the news, where we've got federal leaders and all of the state leaders meeting via video conference, and each person is there in their own state. They sit at a beautiful, big, rich mahogany desk, and in front of them is a ginormous screen that has all of the other heads of state on there. And that's that ability to connect with all of the most important stakeholders, the decision makers, people with that information immediately, to present that information clearly and large enough in a way that it's almost larger than life, has been really, really heavily tapped and relied upon in the past 12 months, when we've had things like bushfires that have been raging through different states, or COVID-19, that's gone global. So there's some really good use cases out there that we've already seen for something like an 85-inch Surface Hub, just for the video conferencing alone. Once you put on the data visualization, the marking up, the collaboration too, it really sort of takes it to the next level of what you can do with the device. And I think the demand and the use case for it has sort of shown itself over so many times over the past 12 months.
Yeah, really great point, Dan. So it doesn't look like we've got any more questions coming in. So I will hand back to Namitha to wrap us up for today. If you do have any questions that pop up in the meantime.
We've just got a question. Looks like a really good one. So Anonymous is asking, it just got published, hold on. Anonymous is asking, in a kiosk mode for a public setting, say a public library on behalf of a local council, can a local business book the hub for a meeting, or must the user be on the network as the hub, and therefore it isn't possible for external businesses to book the hub for a meeting?
Great question. Great question. So the short answer is 100% possible. It just requires a little bit of work. So inside the hub mailbox, you have options when you create it to set permissions. Now, those permissions can be for external participants as well. So in this case, what you would need to do is run a small bit of PowerShell, change the mailbox settings to allow external invitations, which would enable it to work from people who aren't part of the tenant or domain of the hub to book the hub. There are times when you would want to do that, times when you wouldn't, but it isn't a big job to do it. You just need to run that small script, which will enable you to make external bookings onto the hub. So yeah, if there's no more that pop up, I will hand back to Namitha now to wrap up. But if anything you guys want to ask, if you guys want to ask anything further, please just throw them in the Q&A chat. Dan and I will be here to answer over the next few minutes anyway. So I'll hand back to you now, Namitha.
Thanks, Kayla, and thanks to the entire Collabtech team for an amazing set of content and agenda to walk our partners through today. Loved especially the live demos. Daniel, I find that even all of us from Microsoft that are on the call was walk away learning something new through these live demo series in particular. And it's great to be able to see that drill down into the various verticals even within the public sector in itself, which is such a massive industry. So look, thank you so much. A massive thank you to all of our partners as well, as Kayla and Michelle called out earlier. If you have missed out on any of the prior sessions, or if you want to come back to some of these sessions as a reference for your own enablement and preparation for some of your customer sessions, all of this will be made available to you. So do make sure that for those folks from your organization who is unable to join these sessions, maybe you forward the recordings for their own enablement as well. I don't see any further questions come through. So if there's nothing further from a Q&A perspective, look, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of our partners as well. I know we've got partners from across the Greater Asia region in New Zealand and Australia join us for these series. So a massive thank you to everyone for your support and partnership. Keep an eye out for those recordings. And as I mentioned at the start as well, there is a lot more content that we will be releasing as part of the Hub in a Hybrid World program. If you're not familiar with Cephas Reseller Alliance, I would highly encourage you guys to go and check out a whole range of new assets in content that we've released on there specifically to Cephas Hub. So do check that out. You can access it on, if I get this right, it's partner.microsoft.com/Cephas. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll continue to keep the engagement through the broader program. Thank you, everyone.